what do you think spirit babies want parents to understand that they're maybe missing?
I find a lot of the time what I notice is a spirit baby, they mainly want their parents to know that they're here and that they're with them. They're not alone on that journey and that they want to come.
Trying to conceive isn't just a physical journey. It's one of the most mentally and emotionally demanding experiences a couple can go through. And it's time we start talking about all of it. Hi, I'm Denise Erez, your fertility godmother, and this show is for the woman who wants to optimize their health, who is trying to conceive and wants real, honest support, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, without the overwhelm. Because this journey isn't just about getting pregnant. It's about who you become through it. And you don't have to navigate it alone. So take a deep breath. You're in the right place. Let's do this together. And welcome to the Fertility Godmother Show. Hi, welcome to the Fertility Godmother Show. If you've been trying to conceive for any length of time, you've probably discovered that fertility is about so much more than just hormones, lab work, and timing. Right? It's emotional, it's deeply personal, and for many women, it's spiritual. Today, we are going to explore that side of the fertility journey. My special guest is Anne-Claire. Anne-Claire is a naturopath. She's an author, a spirit baby medium, and a spiritual fertility guide whose work blends natural health with intuition and spiritual connection. She has helped many women around the world explore the emotional and spiritual dimensions of becoming a mother. So whether you've always believed in the spiritual side of fertility, you're simply curious, or maybe you're listening with a healthy dose of skepticism, I want to invite you to stay open. This conversation isn't about telling you what to believe. It's about exploring another perspective, asking thoughtful questions, and having an honest and great conversation about a topic that has brought hope and comfort to many women on their fertility journey. And Claire, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited that you're joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Denise. I'm so grateful to be here.
Thank you. Let's start with this question. For someone who's hearing the term spirit baby for the first time, what does that actually mean?
Yeah. So the spirit baby is the soul of the baby before they come in. And the way I like to explain it is the way like we all have a physical body and we all have a soul that is connected with that body. And when we passed away, the body stopped living, but the soul keep on living. And the same way, it's a little bit more known that we can connect with our ancestor or that people who passed away, we can connect to the soul before they come in. And that's what we call the spirit babies, that connection with our own children that are going to come in our life earth side that, we can already connect with and communicate.
Beautiful. So what brought you down this path? What led you to doing this? I mean, you're a naturopath by training. Like, how did this work evolve?
Yeah. So I actually started in medical school and in midwifery in my 20s, and then didn't like really enjoy like the giving birth, helping baby to come earthside. But I didn't align with the way it was done. I really believe in something more natural. So I just left, and when I was 20 at the time, so didn't have in me to like revolutionary and change everything. So I went traveling for a while, like 10 years. And during that 10 years, I did a lot of different things, including my naturopathic study and also a lot of different energetic training and lived in different spiritual community. And when I arrived in Vancouver, Canada, so I'm originally from France, but I arrived I had a dream that I would meet my partner in Vancouver. So because it's been there for a while and it was very strong, I ended up being like, you know what, I want a partner, I'm calling them in. So if I had that dream, let's go there. And so I came here and I did meet him, and now we have two beautiful children. But what's happened is that 6 months after we met, I got pregnant. And during that pregnancy, I kept having a very strong dream of that baby that were telling me that I needed to help women and show them that they can connect with their baby before they come. and we miscarried at 11 weeks. And I feel because of all the emotion and everything that came with it, and, finding to find answer the why, why it happened, why did I lose that baby? For me, one of the big reasons that baby came was to help me find a path and a purpose in this life. So I started to do like spirit baby sessions, and thinking that I would be working with women that are pregnant or about to give birth. And I ended up actually attracting mainly women on a fertility journey. So it just grew from there.
Wow. Wow, that's beautiful and so courageous of you to like leave France to go to Vancouver. I think that's very courageous, amazing. And then,
Yeah,
yeah,
I had
go
a
ahead.
lot of big dream like that I follow and always came through. So I was like, okay, this one is very big, but let's try. There's nothing to lose.
Amazing. That's beautiful. That's amazing. For the many women listening that have been through years of infertility, miscarriages, and failed IVF cycles, how do you explain why some people seem to conceive easily while others are struggling for years?
Yeah, I mean that's a big question. I don't think
Yeah.
there is like a one answer fit all. I'm a big believer, the same way going back to our own life and our own incarnation, we all here for a different reason with different purpose. And I also think that our path to motherhood looks different, and those soul coming in also have their own timeline, their own journey. And some people will have challenge in their professional life. Some will have challenge to find a partner. And the challenge are also what help us grow and evolve and become different version of ourselves. And I notice, and not for everyone, that's why I don't want to generalize, but I noticed that fertility journey for some women is part also of like that growth and evolution that is put on their path.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we all have our struggles and then we grow from them. And every path is different. Every reason is different. All the purposes. Yeah. Beautiful. Do you believe that babies choose their parents?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I don't know. I think the easiest way and I mean, no, it's not the easiest, but I know if I connect to myself, it makes sense why I had those parents, like my own parents, and how it contribute to who I am today. And in both ways, sometimes your family, like either the very challenging, very difficult and breaking stories that help you become a completely new version of you, or like whatever happened, I feel shape who you are today. And I do believe that there is lot contract that have been put in place with souls that, maybe met in previous life and want to meet again, or that would be able to help each other into achieving why we came here. Yeah, I do believe that.
Yeah. It's probably for some of us, we probably are, that are happy with our families, probably think, yes, we chose our families, but sometimes we think, I don't choose my family. But at a spiritual level or an unconscious level, at some level we have.
Yeah, but it's funny because I mean, the example I don't know why it come to my mind, but one of them is Tony Robbins, because a lot of people know him. And when he talk about childhood and everything he went through, like like doing what he's doing right now, and also being so successful and everything because of the challenge and everything he had as a child. And it's not always easy to understand why, but I do believe that there is a reason, and ultimately is been chosen, even if it's challenging and difficult.
Right. Something needs to heal, or
Hmm.
it helps us, become on our journey or our purpose.
Yeah.
Figure out yeah. Yeah.
But when I say we choose, I don't think it's not necessarily just the baby that choose. I think it's also we all choose together.
Mm.
Um it's like at some point it's almost like my soul, my partner's soul, like like all choose our children choose us. Like it's just like it's a all there's a lot of different pieces involved. And I also think it's bigger than us. There's probably someone that has a more vision about the bigger plan, that know what would be best for everyone involved. I do believe that, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Would you say there's a difference between like the timing of things and being ready for things? Like, Can someone be physically ready for pregnancy, but not necessarily emotionally or spiritually ready?
It's the short answer will be yes, but it's not that simple, because sometimes we know that we're ready and we're sure we're ready,
Right.
but we didn't know. What I can say is I've been supporting women on their fertility journey for 7 years now, and I help like hundreds of women. And all of the ones that are pregnant and hold their baby, they look back at their journey, and even some women like 10 plus year of like challenge, they will look back. It always made sense, and they understand it, and they learn from it, and they would not necessarily change anything about it. Of course, they wish it would have been easier, but it made them who they are. That the baby came at the time that was like ended up being perfect. It's just very difficult when we're in it to be able to see that. But I just know on the other side, I've never met, and every time one of my clients get pregnant or people share the story, I often ask that question pretty much every time. And I've never ever met someone so far that said, like, I wish it would have been different, or I would have changed that, or it ended up being the perfect timing.
Yes, I've had that experience too, where women, when you talk to them later on and they've had that opportunity to look back and they've seen how much they've grown or improved their health or have healed in some way through that challenge, and then they're holding their baby and it's the perfect, they can imagine it being any other way.
Mm-hmm.
And they could find the blessings and the learnings from all that, the struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. 'Cause that's why it's like, were they not ready before? I can't say that.
Right.
It's maybe it just wasn't the timing for everyone involved.
Mhm.
I don't think it's just a question of being ready, ultimately.
It's the timing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like the bigger picture, some things we don't have access to. It's like, finding your life partner. It's like, for me, it's a little bit the same, having your baby as finding your life partner. Is it like some women, they find it and it's very easy and it just happened, or they met him when they were younger and just they grow together. And for some women, it's very difficult and it takes very long time to meet that life partner. And why one was faster than the other one, it's difficult to know. Was it is because she was ready or not? Because like there's so many factors that plays. And I
Right.
feel with the baby, it's a little bit the same. It's like we don't have control over it. I mean, there's some things we have control over, but ultimately, there is bigger things in play.
Yeah, there definitely are bigger things in play. So it goes very deep,
Mm-hmm.
very, very broad, and all the different pieces of life, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do fear, grief, and unresolved trauma play in the fertility journey from your perspective?
I guess they all three for in a way are different. I'll go with grief, because I guess that's probably I'll start with this one. That's one of the biggest one, and a lot of women experience that through having a miscarriage or having a loss. It's tough to know unresolved or not resolved. Like, when is it really resolved? What I would say is it's important to leave yourself the time and space to grieve, and so to feel all the different emotion that comes with. What's happened sometimes, if you didn't leave yourself that space, it's because, if let's say you lost a baby, obviously everyone is different and some will be more impacting than others. But what I would see sometimes is that you might be strong on the outside, but inside it is impacting you, but you believe you keep going. Basically, you're pushing things down. It's like you're covering it by keeping yourself busy, but ultimately your body, there is this book called The Body Keep the Score. It's like ultimately your body is still have those emotions that are inside that are unresolved. And sometimes that can, I wouldn't say block another pregnancy to happen, but I often say it's good to go and embrace those to be able to make space for something new. And it's like, it's not black and white, it's like you can be sad and grieving while still be hopeful and inviting another baby in. The problem when you block and you push everything in is that it creates sometimes some what we call like energetic block that also, there is in Chinese medicine, they talk about the connection between the earth and the womb, and all the emotion that often I push down is like with the earth and it's blocking. And then that's kind of like can block the connection to the womb. And that's why it's also talked a lot in conception that it's recommended to see what unresolved emotion or trauma as well could be, because it can sometimes be on the way.
So if are you, just so I hear this correctly, when we don't have these resolved emotions of fear or grief, it can create an energy block. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, it can.
Okay. And how would you describe an energy block? Like, so we know what that means.
The way I would see it is if you've pushed emotion down for so long and you're trying basically to operate like if it's not there and it hasn't happened, there is some kind of like contraction that happen in the body. It's like if you think of like a lot of things that you push down, then it's becoming heavy and it's contracting. What's happened is that for conception to happen, we want it to be more like open because we wanted to have space to receive. And
Yeah.
once we have those emotional like blockage or those energy block, and that's like contract the energy and can contract the energy of the womb, it can be more difficult to actually be open to receive and for conception to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you. Thank you for that. What do you think spirit babies want parents to understand that they're maybe missing?
Ooh, that's a great question. I find a lot of the time what I notice is a spirit baby, they mainly want their parents to know that they're here and that, that they're with them, that the journey, they're not alone on that journey and that they want to come. I feel that's often the biggest thing that they want is to just that we acknowledge that they're here and that they're also part of the journey and they want to come. And the other thing is often sometimes some women will ask, okay, what do my baby wants? What decision would they make? What I see very often is that the baby ultimately, they want their mom to be happy. So they will often say for the woman to come back to themselves and to check in with themselves, what feels right, what will bring you joy, and to use that to make decision.
The spirit baby, to make the spirit baby's decision, or the
spirit babies often, so I have a lot of women, when they come to connect with their baby, I will ask, what question do they have for the baby? And a lot of women, they will have question about sometimes, does my baby prefer to come through IVF or naturally? Like, let's go with that example. And interestingly, a lot of the time, the baby doesn't necessarily have a preference. They often have an answer for the woman to check in what feels right, and what feels right for them is the path forwards. So they often ask their mom to follow what brings them joy and what feels right. There is often that notion that come back often.
Got it. So it's really how their message then for that situation would be really to listen to your own intuition of what feels right in alignment for you, right?
Yeah. It will be to try to, as much as you've heard a lot of different things from, let's say, from the from doctor, from practitioner, from external voices, to try to like shut that off for a little bit and just go back to you and be first, what are my value? Because some people, they don't want to do, it doesn't feel right for them to bring a child that way. Or for some, they're like, they don't want to put their bodies through IVF. And for some, it's the other way around. They're like, you know what, it's been that long and I do feel I want support and I do want to try IVF. So just like going back to
Feels
what
good to
feels
you.
right.
Yeah. And brings you joy. I like that. I think that's important for us to tap into still having joy, even though there's so many challenges and struggles. I talk a lot about that, like it's bringing the joy and finding the joy, and then also finding out what's in alignment with you, like what you said.
Yeah.
What decision. So cutting the noise, just kind of recapping, really just cutting the noise and just tuning in and feeling it, making a decision from what's best for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love it. If a woman has been trying for years to conceive and she feels like she's losing hope, what would you want her to know today?
I mean, first, she's not alone because that I see that all the time, every day. I think it's just a normal human way, when it's been a long time, to try to achieve something and it's not happening. And what I would like her to know is, I think that's why I love to bring in the piece of the spirit baby, because it reminds you that you're not alone, and that allow you to also keep going and keep having faith that it's going to happen. So yeah, I would say, remember, you're not alone and you're taken care of, even if it doesn't look like it, even if it looks like maybe life is against you. Ultimately, like, I call it your guides, your angel, your support, they're all in your corner and working for you. We
Hmm.
just don't always know how it's gonna turn out, but it's always turned out for the best.
Hmm. Beautiful. Do you have a story that's something like that sticks in your heart? A story that you can share with us?
I guess the one that stick to me the most and that keep coming back is that woman that came to me after 10 years of trying, and trying lots of different things, trying everything you can think of. As she say, um when she shared her story, she said she was lucky that she didn't financial wasn't like an issue, so she was able to have access and to try a lot of things. But it's still, that was allow her to keep going that long. But it still was 10 years. And so when I met her, she was like, because she didn't have the financial blockage, she was able to try so many things. And she's like, I've tried everything and it still hasn't happened. So the hope was really, really, really low. You can imagine. And I feel like through starting to really connecting with our baby, it's like opened the door of, she could feel her baby. The way I like to work is like, I'm not just giving message. I help you connect with your baby, feel them, potentially see them, hear them, depending on like how you receive information. So she was able to see and feel her baby. And I feel like that experience itself reminding her of like why she was keep going and what was a driving force, that ultimately was not just her own desire. Because sometimes that the question that comes is like, am I, maybe it's not meant for me, should I give up? And it's just reminding her that there were also like this baby that was there with her in the journey that wanted to come. And yeah, so she was able to feel them, to feel her, and to get to know her personality. Like, she could really feel. It's funny with the speed baby, we can really feel her personalities, and then when they come her side, it's pretty much all the time match. And that's what's happened with her. So she, because of situation, she did have to go through IVF for genetic reason. But she did conceive through IVF, and now she has a little girl. And at 45,
Yeah,
45 or
love that.
46, I can't remember which one. I think she gave birth at 46 and was
Wow.
pregnant at 45. So it, age is just a number. I think everything can happen. And for me, when I see women that had been on the road for so long, I'm like, if she can do it, then I believe a lot of women can do it. And this one is through IVF. But what's interesting is that pretty much all of my other clients that have done IVF before, they got pregnant naturally. They
Mm.
ended up getting pregnant naturally in their 40s.
Wow. That's a beautiful story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 10 years, and then she was able to connect with the energy of her baby. So when you say connect with, do you mean the future mom, like the person can actually feel the energy of the baby too when you do these sessions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the way I do the session is, so we meet for like 75, 90 minutes, and usually we talk. I get to understand, your situation, where you're at, what's happened. That's allow me to identify the way my brain or my thing work is that I'm good at seeing the big picture and to identify what might be the area that need attention. So through talking with the person, I'm able to ask other question and it just flow. And like this, I can identify why do we want to focus on with the baby and what question do we want to ask them. And then the rest of the session, the woman will be lying down and in a meditative state. I mean, she can sit down, but a lot of them like to lie down in a meditative state. We do a short guided meditation to put the mind aside and be really present. And then I take them in the spirit baby world. So, which means she's also going, and then we're going to be communicating. So I will be asking her, can you see anything? Can you hear anything? And that's where I'm trying to assess how she receives information. Is it just sensation for her? Because we all receive information differently. Some people are more like they are feeling, some they will see colors, some they will hear, some they will see the baby and hear the baby. Like it really depends. So I want to identify that. And then from there, we'll get the answer of the baby. So the answers can either come, the woman can really receive everything. She can see, feel, and like she receive all the answers. Or maybe she doesn't. Sometimes nothing happen, or sometimes it's just partial, meaning maybe she can feel, but you imagine if you can just feel, it's difficult to get answer to question and clarity. So that's when I will ask, do you want me to step in? And I will tell them what's coming for me. But they're still in that meditative state. That mean that whatever they receive, they also receive it on a bodily side. So there's a lot of emotion that come in. So yeah, woman crying is pretty frequent, not necessarily in a sad way, sometimes just like very emotional in a good way to like feel their baby, see their baby. And yeah, and then the why I do that is then that's mean when they go back, they can try on their own and see that they can do it as well. Or at least they know where to start, because a lot of people will expect to see their baby and have a communication like we're having right now. But if you're only receiving sensation, it's going to be difficult for it to happen. But if you keep doing in the meditation, expect that you're going to be able to see your baby, was you might never see them. You might just feel their presence. Then at least you know, and you know what to focus on. And also the experience is deeper, because if I just tell you, let's say you come and I just tell you what I see and what I receive, basically I'm talking to your mind. So your mind is going to do what they want with it. Whereas when you've really felt it, because that's a lot of things of the time what's happened is I will share what's coming up for me, and they will tell me that's what I knew it, but they couldn't put it into word. It just validates a lot of things a lot of things make sense for them.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be hard to put into words.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying.
Yeah, that I haven't, experienced something like this, but I would imagine that it would be hard. Sometimes it's hard to put feelings towards anyway. So just having that completely different experience.
Like, I mean, a concrete example, yesterday I have a client, she just had a miscarriage she discovered it at 10 weeks, but the baby stopped growing at 8 weeks. And the baby hasn't passed yet. So we were working together to help, everything that is coming up. And suddenly she just shifted from like being questioning and the why and frustrating to suddenly she felt really calm. And she even was like, I don't know what's happened. But suddenly she was at peace with everything. Like it just shifted. And then she came out and she was feeling very different. And she understood, what's happened with her baby and everything, all the little things that came to her through like different thoughts throughout the pregnancy, different little signs, little dreams or things. Like she said, everything makes sense and she could put everything together. So yeah, it's a little bit magic.
Yeah, it feels like that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So when it comes to miscarriage, then how do you view that? How do you view that through your eyes spiritually?
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of different why behind a miscarriage. I also feel it's multidimensional. We can look at it from the physical stand and science, have some explanation. Then we can look at it from the spiritual, and sometimes it's a mixed. Like for example, in the case that I had yesterday, it actually was one of the first time it was very clear that the body that this baby was gonna have wasn't gonna be matching what that baby was intending to do in this lifetime. Like I could see this baby like very active, doing a lot of like sports and like very having a very strong body that I couldn't tell exactly what he was going to do with, but definitely something the way he was using his body in his life a lot, not just like everyone else, but more than that. And it really felt that that body would have not allowed him to do that. So in that case, it really felt actually like scientific and genetic that the body wasn't the right one. But it was interesting because that's often what the doctor said, but it was the first time that I really saw that. Most of the other time were a lot of different explanations. So there were some reason where the babies are not ready or they're scared or they need reinsurance. There are some babies that they're just like coming and going. So let's say you have a miscarriage in this lifetime and then you go, you pass away and you go on the other side, and some people want to also go and experience what it is. So they will come and go just for this soul evolution of understanding. There is a lot of different layer. And I also think there is some layer definitely that we got clarity on during the session. But I also believe there is some answers that even I don't have and no one has that we will have later when we passed away and we'll have access to other things. But from what I've seen, there is sometimes it comes from the baby, sometimes it's just not the right timing. Sometimes they come to show you can get pregnant, but it just like help you to keep going as well. When you've been trying for 3 years without a positive pregnancy test, as devastating as it is to lose the baby, at least finally, you can get pregnant. So I've seen various reason, and I would say there's not one answer that works for everyone.
I would imagine there would be many answers. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that goes with everything. There's always so many different aspects to handle. I would agree.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think anyway, it's so fascinating to me. This topic for somebody listening who might be thinking this sounds hard to believe. Like, what would you say to them?
Mhm. I mean, for me, I'm not there to convince people. It's like everyone has different belief. And I'm more here to bring awareness that it is one way to look at conception. I firmly believe in it, but I completely respect if someone, doesn't. What I always said is, if you're curious, then like dive a little deeper, and you can also be curious and be fearful. And that's also what I I will invite you to ask yourself is that, are you skeptical because you're scared, or is it because you really don't believe in that concept? And those are two different things. If you're like, what she's saying is, I really don't believe in it. It doesn't agree with me. But then I'm like, it's fine. You don't have to, and you can just pass, keep going on your journey. And then other people or other pieces will come your way, and that's fine. On the other hand, if you're like, yeah, it's kind of like makes sense. I'm a little bit curious. I'm just, I don't know what to expect. I'm a little bit scared. I mean, this is normal, when it's a new concept, if it's new to you, I'd say it's completely normal. There's different ways. There's some people that are like, you know what? I don't know what to expect. I'm scared, but I'm just gonna jump in and see. And some they take like months. Sometimes I have years later, they come back to me. So you also have to listen to your own rhythm and what feels right. I just know for a fact, like some of the biggest fears that I see is, what if there is no spirit baby? I just want to say that it never happened. I believe if you've been on the journey for so long, and if you find, someone that does spirit baby, or even like that episode today, in my opinion, there is guidance, and probably your spirit baby is guiding you in that direction. So I've never had someone coming to a session and there were no spirit baby. That's never been the case. So that's one thing. And the other thing, the other fear is like, what if, what come out, I don't want to hear it, because sometimes we think about mediumship, then it can be, they will tell me about my future, or it's really not what it is. Like, we just really getting to know your baby, getting to understand who they are, like why they choose you, potentially any connection that there is between the two of you, any piece of information that they can share about your journey. I'm also the way I decide to like channel and receive information. I always want to share only, like receive only what you're ready to receive and what's gonna have a positive impact on your journey. Like that's really also my intention with what I do. So I've never really received anything bad. Yes, sometimes, I was able to see, someone is pregnant and I can have a sense that it's not gonna move forward, but I don't talk about it anymore anyway. For me, I let for that, cause some people they do a session before they're pregnant and then they get pregnant and they want me to, okay, so how is it going to go? And this I actually stopped doing. And I said, I want the medical system. Like for that, I'm going to use the pregnancy test, the blood test. We're not going to I'm not playing God as like, is he staying? Is he not staying? Because, sometimes also in that moment you see one information, but maybe things evolve and things can change. So I'm very mindful of the type of information that will come to you, and the idea is meant to make your journey better. So that's my long answer to your question.
I really like it. And Claire, you have a really like when we first met, I feel like we'd connected. You're such a beautiful soul. Like I would feel like I've never done anything like this, to be honest. And and I in the past, maybe a long time ago, I would have been really skeptical, but now that I'm, in my 50s and you see life, so many things you can really just see that didn't make sense in the when you were younger makes like, oh, okay, you start to become more open to it. And you're somebody I would completely just feel safe with. You really have that beautiful energy. So
thank you. That's so nice.
yeah,
Thank you so
no,
much.
really, you do. It's amazing.
But that's the thing is like you need to go in your own rhythm. There's no point. It's not because it hasn't happened to you that suddenly you find something new that you have to jump into it. But I'm saying that, with this concept, but with like the medical thing, like everything, it need to feel right. And there's no point forcing a path if you're not ready. And maybe you're not ready now, but things will happen and maybe you're going to keep bumping into people that tell you this and that. And maybe 3 months, 6 months, you're going to be, oh yeah, okay, now I'm actually ready.
I'm curious. I'm ready. Yeah. Yeah. And then you create that safe space for them and to allow that to happen. Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to leave our listeners with and any message that you'd like to share before we sign off?
Yeah, I always love to send, so much positive vibe and energy to anyone that is on their journey, especially if anyone is in a time where they just lost a baby or they just had some bad news. I especially want to send you some really positive, loving energy and know that, I always say it's like one day at a time. Do one day at a time. And some days are more challenging than others, but just do one day at a time and really be gentle with yourself. And remember to maybe go and do on a fun date with your partner. Like think of, before you started that journey of like some fun moment you had together and just maybe do one of those activities you used to like together. Just allow you to take your mind off of the trying as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining me here and sharing this because it's, for me, it's very different and I'm very curious and I love it. I think I'm excited that we connected, really. So
thank you so much for having me. And I appreciate your openness as well to, hear something new and also bring it to your listener because it's human when we don't know and it's new, it's a little bit scary. And it's like, it's not even like I was talking
especially
with
the spirit world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we don't know, and there is no necessarily like proof. I mean, now I've seen enough proof myself, to be honest, that
right.
no, I don't doubt it. But at the beginning, same for me, when I started to go in that and I started to receive information, I was like, oh my God, like what's going on? And then I realized it can serve you in a beautiful way as well.
It can, yeah, I can see how it can be very helpful and supportive and beautiful. Yeah, they really can. I remember when I was studying Chinese medicine, they talk about the energies and I was in my late 20s and I'm like, what are you talking about energy? you know, and then you learn later on about, through experience, like you said, you really learn how that it's there.
Hmm.
It's there and it's okay if you don't believe or you believe. It's your journey.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
exactly.
your journey. So share with us how people can find you. I know you have a book and maybe your Instagram and your website. Can you share with us how you can find you?
Yeah, so my book is actually in French, so it's not going to be very helpful. But it's going to come in, yeah, I'm going to have an English book in the future.
Right?
But for now, on my website, it's under my name, so AnneClaireLeBihan.com. And same with my Instagram is Anne-Claire Le Bihan. And yeah, feel free to reach out to message me. And also, if you do want to try start connecting with your spirit baby, you'll see on my website there is a spirit baby guided meditation, so you can try that on your own. If you're not ready to take a steps towards trying with someone else, you can just like be curious on your own and just do that meditation and see what's come up. And just one thing on that one, if nothing comes, doesn't mean there is no baby. Like I'm very clear, I've done it many times. If you do that meditation on your own and nothing comes, doesn't mean there is not a baby.
Mm,
Sometimes it's just the timing, or it's like some meditation are better than others. Sometimes you were very busy during that day, so you're not in the right headspace. And also what I notice, when we focus on something that is so close to your heart and you want so much, sometimes it can just that like wish for it to work, or that fears of not working, all of that can sometimes just block the youth from receiving anything. So just know that I want to warn you on that it can be, you can, and be open to have a beautiful experience, because I receive email all the time of people having like very beautiful things happening to them through that meditation.
wow. Thank, thank you so much. So her information will be in the notes here, so you can check that out and connect with her. Thank you again so much. I really enjoyed our time together.
Thank you so much, Denise, for having me. It was so lovely.
Very lovely.